Okay, we are now recording. Cool, so this is the first Wednesday workshop after the summer, and I wanted to start recording now because I want to tell a bit like the context and what we are going to build today and the story behind it. Do you want to tell it, Wes, or should I?
I think it's probably better if you tell it, because I don't think I have a complete awareness of all of the context.
Oh, okay. That's my bad then. Hey, Ratika. Okay, so the context really is something like Wes and I really like Dave Snowden's work, right? We met in Austria in the Holochain Immersive this past July, and once we discovered that we really like Dave Snowden, we're like, oh, you see this? Oh, this is the video. Oh, you have to see this one. So we were like a bit exchanging, and one of the patterns that we find really interesting that Dave Snowden explains in talks and so on is this concept of rich data, which is basically, we're going to delve into it obviously, but it's basically polling but with superpowers in which you can make visible the different kinds of experience that people in a community or in a group are having, and from that visibility you can start to make small adjustments to make some experiences more likely, or to be able to have people help each other. Anyway, we are going to dive into it when we get to user stories, which is like the first step that you need to do. So I was like increasingly becoming excited about this, and I told Wes, hey, we need to reboot Wednesday workshops. How about we start by doing the rich data one, because we are really excited about it, and then we can already start using it in the Holochain community or in other places, like, I don't know, we can see. But this is something that we are just excited to be able to play around. And that's it. That's all the context. At least all the context I had. Like, I don't know if you imagine anything else, Wes, but this is it really.
No, I think that's a good starting point. I kind of think of some of Dave Snowden's work as like tools for higher degrees of group self-awareness, like just hearing inside the culture of some social group to understand where people's sentiments and experiences are at. So I think we're going to be probably outlining some kind of almost like narrative mapping applet of some kind.
Yeah, that's my idea as well. I had something. Oh yeah, I don't think we are going to finish the applet today, for sure. But maybe in 2 days we already have something that we can publish to the Dev Hub. Not sure, we'll see. So, is that enough context for everyone? Does anyone have any questions before we actually like jump into HackMD and start thinking about the applet itself? Seems we are all good. As always, feel free to like stay as long as you want, interact and build together as in a pair programming session, or ask questions around what we are doing. Like, we are here not only to build, but also to create relationships between us and to help new people learn Holochain, right? So please feel free to, this is a real conversation. This shouldn't be like us talking and forgetting about everyone here. Hidayat?
Yes, because there might be some people who are going to watch this video, they don't know what is applet or something like that. Would you like to explain a little bit the applet that they can be synchronized and then continue?
Sure, yeah. So we, okay, so normally when you do holochain developments, you do holochain apps, right? And a holochain app is some backend and some frontend. You install it in the launcher, and then the UI connects to the backend, and they talk to each other, and so on. We are going to be building a Wii applet, which is a holochain application, really, but it's a mini holochain application that can be installed in Wii, and Wii is a holochain application in itself. What Wii does is it's a tool to first create social context, so groups, and it could be the group, your friends group or your work team or whatever, and then you can install applets on those groups. So you could say something like create the group holochain community, install the rich data applet. And now everyone that's already inside the holochain community has available this new mini applet, and the mini applet is not supposed to be like a full big holochain application experience, but just a bit of functionality that you can add on top of a group, right? So this really fits with the rich data kind of thing, because it would be a bit weird to release just a rich data app by itself that people can install, because really rich data makes sense in the context of a group or at least some kind of space, right? Like the holochain community is not really a group, but we can have a context in which everyone in the holochain ecosystem comes together, right? How did I do? Did I give a good 1 minute explanation of things?
Yes, if I want to add to maybe a little bit more clear, like a Chrome extension, when they have a Chrome, they install extension, it can be something like that. Or another way, like a gadget, when there is something that people can install a gadget. It means the V, it is the holochain application, a group can install it. If they want to create a new facility or tools or library, there is no need to go from the scratch or implement everything. They can implement applet, and all groups that use V can easily install and reuse that applet as a library.
Amazing. Yep. Yeah. Thank you so much, Hedayat. I just remembered that we didn't say like time frame that we are thinking about here. Like we normally did 2-hour workshops, but we may want to finish earlier depending on the energy level. So I'd say we are 17 minutes in. Let's do 1 hour from here, 1 hour until 6:30, at least in Europe. This would be in 1 hour and 10 minutes, and then let's check in and evaluate where everyone is at, and maybe we'll leave it there, maybe we'll go on. Feel free to stop and go walk in the forest or anything like that, because that's healthy. Okay, I think I'm ready to share my screen and start thinking about rich data. Is everyone else ready? Cool. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Yep, okay. So, first of all, this is what we are talking about. There is this article explaining rich data in detail. Oh, okay, I need to share it. For example, here, oh no. Okay, I just share it in the general channel in DevHC. So basically, the idea of rich data, for everyone that doesn't know, is to have some kind of Dave calls it distributed ethnography, in which you have people, first of all, tell stories about their experience, right? So imagine, I don't know, this is local food production community, something like this, and you have people telling stories about, hey, my experience is that I don't know, I came in last Monday and I found this, that I expected the food to be there, but it really wasn't there, and that frustrated me because I expected the food to be there and there was some miscommunication. That could be a story, right? A story about the experience that you are having in the community. But then also, together with the story, you answer some quantitative questions about it. So, for example, how do you feel good about your experience in the community? And that could be 0 to 10. Are you experienced? Like how much experience do you have in food production? 0 to 10. You can have any kind of like any type of questions there. And then what the app would do is it would gather all the quantitative answers and display them in a graph. Let's see, is there, oh, there is not. Okay, so yeah, temperature map. No, temperature map, what is this called? Temperature graph. Yeah. No, I'm not finding the right thing. Oh, I should have prepared this, huh? So, okay, let's say that data points graph, something like this would suffice. Okay, yeah. Let's say that we gather all the quantitative information and we display it in a graph like this, and every point is an answer or a story that someone has told. So we can already start to see we have kind of similar stories here of people having similar experiences, at least, right? And then other people are down here having similar experiences themselves. And from this kind of graph, you can click on each of the data points to see what's the actual story behind that quote-unquote number. And from this, which is global visibility on all the experiences of the group, you can start to say, oh, really what's happening here, down here, is that there was a miscommunication of where the food should go every Monday. So let's go and fix that. This is a bit, at least my story about what rich data is about. Eric, you had something?
Yeah, I'm curious about your thoughts about, so that's a two-dimensional graph, and so
Yeah.
you can see two-dimensional clustering. If you've got a survey, each survey question adds a dimensionality. So in 3 dimensions, you could do a 3-dimensional visualization. In 4 dimensions, we're not so good anymore. Do you have ideas about how to do n-dimensional visualization of clustering?
That's the same question I asked myself when thinking about this. So I have, because you can do, I don't remember what the process is called exactly. You can get n-dimensional data point information and reduce it to 2-dimensional ones. And this process, I don't know if it's data normalization. Do you know, Wes, what this process is called?
Projection? I know you can do n-dimensional projections onto other spaces.
Yeah, something along. Wes?
Yeah, I can't remember the technical term. It's like,
SOM. Principal component analysis.
yeah, that was the term I was thinking of. But
Oh, this one. Sorry, I think it's this one, the one I found. Non-metric multidimensional scaling. Yeah. So at least Eric, like I had like, okay, this is something to try out, and maybe it gives horrible results and we throw it out. But at least this is something worth pursuing. I don't know. What do you think, Wes?
This approach or I mean, I think we can just build, like, a lot of the UI stays the same, and then we can try different ways of reducing the dimensionality.
I like that. I like that very much. I also, well, but this is not version 1, but I also am thinking about what if in the future, like at the end, you get this UI, but you can also turn on and off the questions that you're representing. So maybe you find out that how much experience you have in the local food production space is not really an important question. So you remove that noise from the data. But like, that's not version 1. How does this feel, Wes, as far as this is what we are going to build? Would you change anything about what I said before?
I would just add that I know, so I think what we're modeling is this, or at least partially modeling or recreating this program called SenseMaker. I can share a link to it. And not another, like, instead of just having two axes for sort of indexing the narratives, I know they also use triangles. So then there's 3 sort of points of analysis. So that's something we might want to just consider as we like design the applet.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Is this enough for people to understand what we are going for? Like, because we are going to delve into the architecture now, I guess. Does anyone have questions around the story and the why behind this applet? Okay. Cool. So, Wes, how do you feel about creating a HackMD and doing something like user stories, architecture, and already like starting to see the zones and the zone functions that need to be created?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So something like rich data applet, and this is user stories. DNAs and zones. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so user stories. How are you thinking about the UX here, Wes? Like, a user enters and what do they see?
A user enters and they probably, I think there's 2 kinds of users, at least initially. There's someone who creates the poll type, or like someone who wants to collect narratives, so they have to sort of create something, and then the other type of user is someone who engages with that and adds narratives and then interprets other narratives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the viewing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think about having some kind of, when you enter in the UI, you have a list of the inquiries? Like, I don't know if the word inquiry fits well instead of question or poll. But you have a list of inquiries, and when you click in an inquiry, if you haven't answered, it displays you the form to answer it, and if you have answered, then it displays the results.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about so it'd be like a prompt or something. Like you see a prompt for and then your answer would just be a short narrative or a short story.
I'm thinking, hey Moritz, I'm thinking not a prompt in the sense of a dialogue, but a full page like, hey, you haven't answered this inquiry yet. Here is like the big form for you to tell your story, and then the quantitative information and so on. I don't know. We can
that
see.
Sounds good.
Okay, we can see in the UI how to actually do it in like components wise, but the general flow. Like I like what you said about the two types of users, but I don't really want to get into role management right now, right? Like you have the creator of narrative role and the answer of narrative role. I think we narrow, like we lower the scope of work by just saying it's the same view for everyone and anyone can create a new inquiry.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. I was just,
okay.
I guess I was more just outlining the two.
Yeah.
The two branches of use case, I guess.
Totally. Okay, cool. So something like as a member in the network, I should be able to create new, what are we calling them? I'm not an English native speaker, so what's the word that fits here instead of inquiry or poll?
I think we could. Yeah, I think inquiry works. Like it's basically some point around which people will share stories and interpret stories around that topic or that prompt or whatever it is.
Properties of an inquiry, it's like a prompt and list of questions. That's it, really, right?
I think so.
Okay. So then, as a member in the network, I should be able to see a list of all created inquiries. As a member in the network, I should be able to see the detail of any of the inquiry of an inquiry, and if I have answered the inquiry, if I haven't answered the inquiry, I should be prompted to answer it. If I have answered the inquiry, I should be able to see its results, right? Something like this.
Yeah, and so we need the notion of the so there's, you answer the questions, but then you also have to rate, or not rate, but evaluate or index other, like interpret, so someone you have to create the axes of the interpretation, or if it's a triad, the 3 points of the interpretation, like the basically the indexing features of, because that's another part of the user experience or the user story, is like you've answered and you've shared your stories, but then you like read other people's and then like, or I guess would that be the list of questions?
I was thinking about it in the list of questions. Yes. I don't know, because really everyone should answer the same indexing type of questions, otherwise you don't really have this, like,
yeah, they need to be the same.
Yeah, so indexing, yeah, quantitative indexing, and like I would do this to start with, but then we can, like, for sure there are different patterns that you can do. Hedaya, you look confused or like I'm not really following. Something's up.
No, I'm just waiting to see where you are heading up, actually. I'm trying to follow.
Okay, cool. I wouldn't do any more user stories, Wes. Like version 1, this is enough, I think. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we are just going to have one DNA, one zone, right? I don't see the need for more complexity than that. So rich data DNA and rich data zone. Okay, let's do some architecture. Oh no, wait, so data structures first. This is the way I did it when I did my holiness designs, but we could change it. So struct inquiry, something like prompt string questions back string. Do we need anything else? Yeah.
Is there any relation between this applet with other installed? It means it is totally working standalone, or the queries can be somehow related to the other application or event or something, or it is totally a standalone applet?
For now, I'm thinking about it as a standalone applet. We may, like when we has superpowers of linking things in different applets together, like linking, this is an inquiry about what happened in that event from that other applet, should be fairly easy. Yeah. Okay, what else? How do we see it? What's the answer? Is answer the name here, or what's the answer?
Yeah, answer or a micro narrative or
narrative could be.
Yeah.
I like it. Micro narrative. What do you like better, micro narrative or narrative?
I don't know. It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Okay. I like micro narrative. So this is a narrative string, right? So this is where you put all the things. And then we just need this.
What's that?
No, we need another thing. This would be the answer, like the numerical answers to every one of the questions here, right? So people coming in, they see this inquiry and then they create this micro narrative entry, but the micro narrative entry needs to have which inquiry is this about?
Well, it may be linked.
It will be linked for sure. And then, but then these answers are one-to-one relationship with the questions. Right? So we just need a bag of integers to say first question 2 out of 10, second question 3 out of 10, right? Do we need anything else?
Is the dimensionality of the questions always numeric? That would be a question.
Yeah, that's a good question. What do you think, Wes? Like, I was thinking, assuming it to be numeric for version 1, but what do you think?
Certainly, it's an easy place to start.
Yeah, I think maybe just for first version, that's probably good enough.
Yep, I like it. Okay, so like this should be it. Should we go to entry graph? Let's see. Like, do you think there is anything else required, Wes, or anyone?
One example, can you make?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's make an example. So, what's that?
I think that was just you hearing your own feedback.
Okay. So, actually I'm going to do the example with the entry relationship graph. Is that okay, Hedayat?
My mind was about the end result example. For example, I create a code here with the form and the people answer or something like that.
Okay, so inquiry could be what has been your experience like in the what does anyone have a like a real example that they want to share here? Like otherwise we can just do this.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Okay, so this is like something that we could do in the Holocene community. Ask everyone, hey, what has your experience been like in the Holocene community, right? And this would be the prompt, and questions would be something like, how much experience do you have as a developer? Because I'm positing that this influences the experience that you have in the Holocene community. That's a hypothesis that I want to have. Was it easy to get involved in the community? How active are you in the Holocene community? Any other question?
So my question then is, where does, like, okay, I get that you answer these questions like numerically. Where does the narrative come in? Like, where does the narrative come in?
Yeah, so then micronarrative for Hedayat looks like narrative, right? This is this field here. Hey, so I love it so much. I spent a huge amount of time making sure everyone feels welcomed, and I don't know, you would write your story here, Hedayat. And Hedayat is so awesome that he will put modest things here, but he's so important in the community. I don't know. So then questions would be something like, how much experience do you have as a developer from 0 to 10, Hedayat?
From 0 to 10. Which experience? To 10. As a developer?
Yes.
Oh, why it is hard. It means I can evaluate myself that I'm a good developer. I can say I don't know. So it is a challenge right now.
Okay.
Why don't you just make it easy by saying how many years have you been a developer? Because that's just factual data.
Okay.
Makes sense. Uh-huh.
Or have you been actively developing software or holochain software? Or just make it something that can be data, and you could try one that, well, the other ones will be emotional or experiential, but this one might be better to have as factual.
Yeah. Okay. So how many years, Hedayat?
Almost 20 years almost.
Oh my god. Was it easy to get involved in the community from 0 to 10?
It's easy to get involved today or when I joined.
When you joined. Okay, so from this we are getting that we should be quite detailed in our questions. Like, that's on the user side of things, but yes, continue.
Time that I joined a few years ago, it was a bit more harder than this day. I can say maybe 4.
4. How
Yeah.
active are you in the holochain community? Can I put a 10? Or 9?
Can you evaluate me, please?
Okay, so 10. Okay, so what? What's that?
Nothing, go ahead. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah. The answer to all the question is just from 1 to 10, yes? It means the reply it is just a number. Yeah, as Eric mentioned, right now it is better to have a number.
yeah.
to be easy.
Yeah, I think so. Like, this is one of the areas that we can add more complexity later, but I think for now it's good enough, I think.
Well,
Amazing.
I just want to point out, like, I don't. So this, like, I see how this is a polling thing, but I don't think this is exactly rich data in this, in at least the sense that Dave Snowden talks about.
Uh-huh.
And what I mean by that is, from what I understand, is you collect narratives, but like, so the prompt would be something like, tell a story about when you came to the Discord space and had a question, and how well did it get answered, or something like that.
Mhm.
And then someone would be like, oh, I came in and I asked about this specific thing, and 3 different people answered it within 2 days, and it was super helpful. And then other people would, or even that person that wrote it, but you would sort of, then there would be questions about the narrative, like, on a, like, you know, how helpful is the Discord space for answering questions, and then you would answer that question for that narrative. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this narrative, it was clear that the Discord space was very helpful. Because right now with this structure, I don't think we can really create that narrative map, because how does the narrative get indexed
Oh,
on a two-dimensional space?
okay. Like, this is what I think we are doing with these questions. No? Like, this is a 3-dimensional space that we are creating with these questions and answers.
Oh, so you index it that way.
Yeah. No? Like, at least this is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to just bring that up. I'm happy with the approach we're taking, and I think this would be helpful. Yeah, I guess there was, I think it would be helpful, and I mean, just for like the learning experience, this maybe is something we can do in the next one, but just this notion of like actually interpreting a narrative that other people have written. Like there's, I think, some element of like the user experience is you read a story and then there's a set of questions that you answer based on the story rather than the prompt, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe what we can do because what I understood is that you yourself are the one that does the indexing, but maybe I'm wrong. Like this is at least what I understood. So you're saying that you see other narratives and you you answer questions about those narratives.
I thought that might have been one of the things they do. But again, it's not super clear how SenseMaker works.
Let's do one thing. Let's research it for next week.
Sure. Yeah.
We can, we can change the design from that. But shouldn't be like if that's the case, we are going to be to have to do something like a narrative in. No, we don't even need to do this. We can solve this with links. Like the entries, I don't think are going to change, but with some more links, we can add some indexing patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How is this for an example, Hedayat? Does it ground things?
Yeah, it is much more clear.
Okay. Matthias, Eric, you have something.
I think it's okay. It's also like one question I had is, does it make sense to have only one kind of qualitative narrative and then, because I mean, some of the questions like the first one, they are obviously just numeric, but then the other questions are already, you may want to kind of add some context to your answer there. So, but I guess this would be a later feature that you could say, you can also add context to a numerical scale. Maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like why I don't know.
That's interesting. Like this is numeric only because you want to be able to index narrative together, right? So maybe I don't know. Maybe this is for next. I don't know how they do it in SenseMaker really, because like you're right in that this kind of question is a bit too open and too subjective for people.
But that's not the goal of asking this question. That's what you say.
Yeah.
Okay. I think like what you intend to achieve with this is just kind of to group together similar narratives or understand patterns of.
Exactly.
I see. I think I also start to understand the intention better now. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So now, let's think about this. We need a way. Actually, can we do the XOM calls first? I think that's going to be important. So we need a way to get all inquiries, right? Which doesn't have any input and returns a vector of record, maybe, with all the inquiries. We need get the micro narratives from the inquiry hash. Right, and then I had a shower idea, an idea in the shower. Can I share my idea? Like it's a cool architecture idea, a shortcut that we can use to be efficient. So let's say that we have an anchor, right, which is all inquiries. This is our anchor, and we have all inquiries linked with inquiry 1, right? And this is an action. And then we have inquiry 1 linked with micro narrative 1, micro narrative 2, right? Something like this. Does this make sense? Cool. So this is scalable. Like get all inquiries, we're not going to have thousands of inquiries. Maybe we do, but then we can think about indexing by time. I'm not too concerned about that right now. But this one, like we can have a lot of micronarratives input in the system, right? So what I thought about is, what if instead of get micronarrative and it returns a vector of all the micronarratives? Like, okay, we are here in inquiry 1, and we have to do a get links to get all the links to the micronarratives, and then do multiple get, right, to get all the narratives. What if instead of that, what you really want to show is only at the same time, you only want to show the quantitative data for all the narratives? You don't have to show all the narrative text at the same time. It is only when you go and click one of the points that you get the narrative displayed. So what I thought is, we can actually have the link have the answers in its stack. So then when you do get links, you already have all the information you need to display the graph.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. So this would be like a vector.
Yeah, but you have a problem.
Oh,
you have a problem.
No, Eric, don't no. Why?
I'm sorry, because well, I think the problem that you have is that the maximum amount of bytes in a link in a tag. So,
which is one kilobyte.
Oh, right. And so you've got a small number. I thought there was going to be a lot of people's answers, but it's one person's answers. No problem. Sorry.
Nice. Cool. I was like, oh no.
No.
Sorry, Matthias.
It's only the numeric answers you would put into the tag.
Exactly.
Not okay.
Exactly. That's the whole point of the shower idea that I had. Was like, oh, okay. And then once you have a micronarrative hash, you can just go get that one. Right? So with this, you display the graph, and then when you click on one of the points of the graph, you just do this get, which is only one get. With this, we avoid doing the get links and for every link doing a get. Like, we don't want that. That's not scalable. What do you think?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So with this, we avoid doing the get links and for every link do a get.
Yeah.
In a zone call.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't want to do that. That's not too scalable. What do you think? Do you like this?
Yeah, I like it. I've done that before, or I've done similar things before.
Nice. Okay, cool. Ratika asks, is it possible worthwhile to give users the ability to add questions to the vector array? Just thinking that narratives evolve over time. What do you think, Wes? How do they handle this?
If we want to add questions to an inquiry. We could do that. It just means that there might be some questions. Like if someone already answers all of the questions and then a new one gets added, then there might be questions without answers. But there's no reason they couldn't go in and answer that new one. It just this link structure might be a little bit harder to keep up to date if we're going to store the numerical answers in the link.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe this is a feature that we can consider for, or maybe this is a whole new inquiry altogether. That maybe we do something like, okay, this Monday we did this inquiry, next Monday we are doing this other inquiry which is separate, but we link somehow, hey, this is a recurrent inquiry and this is the past one, maybe this is the new one, I don't know.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh yes, we can hear you. Hey.
Oh, my connection's super spotty. I guess like the reasoning behind the question is, if you were giving users a story and then asking them to answer questions about that story, the person, have that ability to say which questions can be asked about that story. So having like users be able to ask their own questions about that story. Like if we're thinking about narratives, I'm thinking about more like it's like truth in a way, right? Everyone has their own version of how they're interpreting that story. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like it would be a good option to have. Maybe like pop on off, allow other users to ask their own questions in addition to just having preset questions.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I can hear myself, I think.
Yeah.
And this is the approach that Polis takes. It's very similar to SensePaper, but it's open source, so you can see how they're structuring it all.
What did you say?
Polis?
You mentioned something that's SensePaper, like open source.
That way, if you like ask a question, users can kind of come back and see how other people are answering. And allow the narrative. Oops. Just click on the Polis at the top.
Sorry, I couldn't hear properly. It was mine. It was hard to, the voice was choppy.
So Ratika, like you're giving a lot of feedback for me as well. Like I can hear myself heavily. Thanks. Like we can hear you, but it's not the clearest audio in the world. So Hedayat, basically she was saying that like at least what I understood coming from this other tool, Polis, in here participants seeing other participants' narratives can add new questions to the narratives. And I like that. The problem I see with that is that I don't know how we are going to do the data visualization later. Because if every news story has different questions with different dimensions, I don't know how we are going to do that. Maybe what we do is you can kind of comment on a story and your comment is a question like, oh please, users can only respond to questions with yes, no, and sure. The actual narrative is within the questions themselves. So instead of actually typing in a big text, they only answer yes, no, and sure? Interesting. I think one of the big points, correct me if I'm wrong, Wes, but one of the big points that Dave has is that the narrative, like the text-free, write whatever you want narrative thing, is a big aspect of the point that Dave Snowden wants to make.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think of what Polis and SenseMaker do are like, I think, different enough to be useful in different contexts. Like, I think Polis seems to be, and I'm not super familiar with it, but I think it's more like the yes, no, unsure thing is, it's kind of like, it's used to basically do like distributed policy making in a sense, where it's like, hey, our city wants to introduce Uber, and should Uber, can Uber use surge pricing or something like that? And then people answer yes, no, unsure, I think. So like I think these are different enough design spaces where, like, you know, there's like there could be a separate applet that's more than sorry.
Go ahead, Wes.
Like, I think there could be a separate applet that's kind of more inspired by Polis, which is like for decision making and collecting feedback on sort of making decisions as a group, rather than just trying to get a sense of people's experiences within a space.
Right.
So what I think that the actual narrative is within the questions is that, so taking the Uber example, the prompt would be should we allow like Uber more flexibility in the city or whatever? And then the questions would be from the users would be related to the experiences. So one example would be if you're a taxi driver, that you'd say that the Uber is affecting like my customers, and you can like explain a bit more about your narrative or story in relation to the prompt through your question. Makes sense. So the prompt and the questions are different things. But yeah, I don't know too much about SenseMaker either. Is there a demo you can link?
I think it's sadly proprietary software, so there's not a ton of. You have to just read people's like blogs and stuff.
So not sure how to integrate. Okay, maybe what we can do, Ratika, is let's do one thing. Let's share resources with each other. I'm going to look into Polis and see what it feels like and what it does, and we are going to try to have find an experience around SenseMaker and reach data as close as possible to the thing. And during the week, we each of us like explores a bit, and we come back next Wednesday, and if necessary, we change. How is that? Cool. Okay. Grounding back, how is this? Do we need anything else? Like, if we need to add something like people evaluating other people's narrative, we can do something like evaluate narrative, right? with micro narrative hash, action hash, and answers. And this would just be another link from the inquiry to the micro narrative. It's just, it has another author, which is fine. Okay, I think we should be good as far as the architecture goes. Any comment here? Question? Otherwise, we can just start to actually build the thing. Do you want to do a bathroom break first? Oh, Matti, you had something. Oh, Matti, I'm muted. Okay. Do you guys want to do a bathroom break first? At least I want. How do you feel about it? Cool. So say, let's, Matthias?
I just said it's a good idea.
Okay. Back here in like 5 minutes. Cool. Recording again. Okay, so now we have this. Now we can just go ahead and use our scaffolding tool. And let's, like, it should work. Let's hope it works.
Are you gonna share your screen again?
Aye. Hey, thank you so much. Okay, cool. So here is the scaffolding tool. I'm going to separate this out and have our design on the left and then here on the right. So we have application name, rich data. We are going to use lit. We already talked about this, Wes, right? You're comfortable with lit? Okay. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So, and then DNA name is just rich data. We can change it if we need. It needs to be snake case. Zone name is rich data as well. We have 2 entries. So one entry is the inquiry. Inquiry? How do you?
I think it's a bit of both. Yeah, it's like one of those.
Okay.
It depends where you come from.
English is weird. Like,
Yeah.
please, if you expect everyone to go.
Feel free to switch to Spanish if you want.
Ah, okay, perfecto. Pues vamos. Can I do Catalan? Okay, so inquiry can be created and read. I don't want it to be updated or deleted right now, right? Okay, so it has a prompt, which is title looks good, and then it has a questions, which actually I'm just seeing that we don't have good handling of vector of strings in the scaffolding tool, which is kind of good to know. So let's for now try this. We are going to add it manually. Next we have micro narrative, which can be created and read, not updated or deleted, at least right now. I don't think it makes sense. Inquiry hash, it's an action hash, and then narrative, it's content that's good. Answers, we have the same problem. Scaffold app, create, looks good. Okay, everything is looking good. Wes, how do you feel? Should we do this in Holochain OpenDev for now, or what do you feel like?
Sure, but I think that makes most sense.
Okay, we can think about moving it in the future.
GM, meanwhile it is creating, also would you please show the comment for the scaffolding for the people if they are going to watch it to see that with one line comment they create.
This one you mean?
Yes, that's it, thank you. Yeah.
Right. So with npm init holochain, it's going to download and execute the scaffolding tool, which is this tool we saw here. It's going to create this structure for you. I'm just going to bring it up right now. Open folder. This is what we just got, and in the background is doing all the automatic setup that we need in our application. So we should be more or less set, right? This is what we had scaffolded, and it's going to have integrity coordinator zones with the definitions of our entries that we can modify, like more or less everything that we need. Okay, cool. So I'm going to, let's actually finish this setup of the project, because we said that we wanted this to be a Wii applet. So let's make it actually be a Wii applet. And there is this scaffolding thing that you can do, which is npx lightning rod labs create Wii applet, that you can do reach data, right? This should be good. So what this is going to do is it's going to scaffold a UI folder for us, in which it's more or less set up to be the UI for a for a Wii applet, which looks like this, right? So now we have a rich data applet that is going to render some elements. And what I'm going to suggest is just take everything that was created in UI in this source and bring it over to the Wii applet, because we are not going to have an index.html in our rich data thing. We are just going to have an index.ts that exports some stuff. We are going to link somehow to a tutorial around making Wii applets, and you can go there and see everything you need to see about creating a Wii applet in itself. So for now, I'm just going to take all of these really and put them here. So components and types, yes. No, please don't save. No. Okay, and now contexts as well. Yes, sure. Update import for context. No, please. And I don't think we need much from this. No, we are going to start developing later. Well, let's bring it over just in case, right? And then we do away with the UI. The Wii applet scaffold generated a work dir for us, but we don't need it because we already have the work dir that was generated by the scaffolding tool. So I don't think we need that. We need to change Wii applet to UI, because this is what the package.json has, right? UI on tests. What else? The package UI. Right, so this the scaffolding for the WE applet scaffolded a lot of things to package the WE applet in itself. So we are going to remove that. So okay, the problem is that the WE applet scaffold thing more or less assumes that you want to release your applet also as a launcher standalone application, which is not our case. Actually, we don't want to release a rich data app standalone in the Dev Hub so that people can install it. We just want to have a WE applet for that. So this is why we have a little bit of friction of, hey, we actually don't want to package the full app in the UI. We just want to package the UI, which is what this is doing already, right? So we don't need this. This is done by the top level. This is done by the top level. This is all done by the top level. This is all cool. Now we should be able to do Nix shell and npm install. Matthias, is Triorama working with the latest scaffolding tool?
I would say it should be, yes.
Should be. Okay, so we can just do npm install and npm test and see that at least the tests pass. The UI is a mess and it's going to break very much because like we have not taken good care of setting things in the right way, right? We have just merged the WE applet scaffolded thing with the thing that the scaffolding tool for Holochain generated, so it's not correct yet, but it should be pretty close and it should be a good starting point for next week. Like we have already the creating inquiry component, the create micro narrative component, we have the inquiry detail and macro narrative detail. Like the scaffolding tool already generated the create and the read elements for both the inquiry and micro narrative. So at least we have somewhat of a good starting point. So let's see if npm test works, and if it works, I would suggest let's just push this into GitHub, and that's it for today. In the meantime, I'm going to create it. Which data inspired by.
You maybe want to call it applet, rich data applet too.
That's actually a good point. A lot of these things are not applets, right? Things in Holochain OpenDep are not applets, but modules. But we have an applet which is the calendar events one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we tag them. So I know you can do tags. Yeah, let's see if we can do it. Let me finish this process and we can look for that. So please don't copy my password. Thank you. Now this is finishing. What? Let's just kill it. Okay. It's all good. So copy over all the files that this has generated. Careful about the hidden files, they are important as well. So copy everything here to the Git. Maybe there is a better way to do it. I'm too lazy to learn it. Just copy over everything from the scaffolded thing to the actual Git repository. Good, and now we can just open that other thing, which is in projects. Holochain, OpenDep, a lot of things. Okay.
You copy and paste because you created in a different folder. Yes, that's it.
Exactly. We scaffolded. The scaffolding tool actually doesn't do any Git things for you. So I scaffolded in one folder. I created a repository and cloned it in another folder, and I copied over all the files from the first folder to the second one. And now we have like a good version control for this. Scaffolded code. npm test.
Generally, when we create a new repository in the GitHub, in the help section, it's showing 3 comments that you can copy and paste. You can bind your local folder and attach it to the remote GitHub with copy and paste. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is better. Okay. If you say so. Okay, in the meantime, let's see settings. Let's see if we can do the tagging. Requests. No. There is a tagging. Type. No. Topics. Manage. This. Okay, this is a bit weird. Repository topics. Let's try it out. So, a lot more. Hey. Reach data. Okay. So calendar events, for example, is WeApplet. Okay, that's nice. Profiles is just a zoom. And it's not showing us the reach data. Okay. Then this looks so. Look at it. WeApplet inspired by these topics. WeApplet. Good. Okay, now this is a WeApplet. Look at it. Oh, that's actually nice. Oh, it gives you, that's actually interesting. So it gives you all the repositories across all GitHub with that topic. So if everyone uses it, it's like, okay, you get all the WeApplet.
Wait, where did you do that? Because I'm just weifying talking stickies. How did you add that?
So here, reach data.
Yeah.
You click here in the about.
Yeah.
And you add WeApplet.
Okay, I'm going to do that right now with talking stickies.
Cool. It asks us for a passphrase, Matthias, so there is something not right.
Weird. I tested that recently.
Triorama is maybe old.
Oh, like I'm 100.
Yeah, just change that. Change that to 7.
7
or 8. I think it's at 8 right now, actually.
Let's see.
Yeah, 8.
Thanks. Install. Okay, I think we are recording because I didn't do anything and this is red now. Maybe it was just a glitch. Let's hope.
Wait, where was topics? Under settings for a repo?
No, under about. It's a bit hidden. You are you seeing my screen?
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Here.
okay, I see it. About, there you go. Topics, we applet.
Okay. Inquiry, grab tests. Let's go. Think. Okay, tests are passing. I just thought of a use case. Oh, some tests didn't pass. Okay, that's actually on the scaffolding tool. That's okay. We can take a look at it later. So, upgraded Triorama. Okay, now I'm going to share this link with everyone. Anyone here that wants to be added to the repository to be able to make pull requests or things like that, just let me know. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because like we should already be done more or less. But I just thought, oh, you know what's a good use case? I would now want to have the people coming into the workshop answer and do the prompt answer thing to see what the experience was like. But we can just do. Do you have any kind of feedback? Yeah, what was this like for you that we can improve next week?
It is the use case for this application. Yeah, you are pulling the whole session for the application. Okay, let's add a narrative to it. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what participants want to get out of it. But like for me, what is going to be most beneficial is just going through the process of coming up with an idea and then all the steps necessary to turn it into an applet. So my bias is like, let's just build something, even if it's not perfect, but just like, you know, the more applets you build, then the more likely you'll be able to build the perfect one down the line. So yeah, I'm just excited to kind of go through that process with other people, and this was a great first step.
Okay, cool. I'm glad.
I noticed that just because I'm in the middle of this right now, that there's a fair amount of friction around the scaffolding tools and we applets and launcher applets, and we're going to have to just get a lot better at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just thinking about the scaffolding tool being able to have a thing that says, am I having this thing be a multi-target deployment?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it single target? So if you have a single target deployment to we, that was what the case is here. But what if you have a multi-target deployment to we, to an Electron app, and to the launcher?
Mm-hmm.
And I think our scaffolding tool is going to need that. So Matthias and Guillaume, you guys are thinking about that a lot. And we're going to have to grow into that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just hard to explain that, right? Deployment is hard. So the other example I have to think about that is, you know, over in HC Dev, this guy wrote the Wordle app.
Mm-hmm.
He converted it. And where is he stuck right now? He's stuck at the place of trying to actually get the tooling in to make it build and turn into a web app.
Oh.
Right? And so I looked at it and I actually cloned the repo and I started like fixing up his scripts and stuff like that, and then I lost time, and it would take me a while because I don't know how to do build scripts on React. I know how to do them for Lit now.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to bundle up the React into the right thing and then have it go to a web app.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just seeing that this is a big friction point for us in a lot of these.
Yep.
I mean, it's close. I mean, we've done so much work. Like the stuff that you guys have done in the templates in The scaffolding is fantastic. But I just watched it here too. And you were saying on the fly really fast, well, this we is going to this one, and you've changed those things. And that probably went by too fast for most of us to actually get right.
Yeah, for sure. Good point.
Hi, Ryan. We're just at the end of the conversation.
I've kind of an out of place, like, architectural question. That's all right. So, why wouldn't you include the author hash in the micro narrative entry? I guess it's unlikely that two people would put exactly the same micro narrative, but would you want to include the author hash to avoid collisions?
Yeah, that's a really good point. You would want, like, the short answer I have is you don't need to include it because we are linking to actions, not to entries.
Right. Okay.
If you're linking to actions, actions already have the author in them, so they are already deduplicated.
Right. Okay.
You could want, Eric?
I was just going to say, and if you actually did link to the action and somebody actually had the exact same micro narrative, that might be really interesting to know.
Yeah.
And so then you have a hash that said, I told the exact same story as the other person. This sucks, right? That's what something is freaking awesome. Either one, that's kind of fun. So it is interesting to, like, sometimes we want those collisions to happen. Like, I would love to see that if our tweets, we actually had collision across the hash of our tweets, and you could see who tweeted the exact same thing across the world would be totally interesting.
So one other thing, I actually haven't been able to get We to run locally. I was trying to develop an applet, and I was thinking, and just dig into the cloning DNA's implementation, like making sense of that. Have people been able to get the latest version of We to run? Is there something I should try?
Depends on what you call the latest version. Like,
okay, well, I was working for your
from
branch.
Or
no, I was working on. I was trying to pull your branch. I don't even know the name of the branch. Load from file system.
This one, okay. This one should work, I think.
Okay.
I have it running right now in the launcher, 0.60.
Okay.
But you're talking about building from source.
Yeah, I was trying to build. Well, that was because the launcher wasn't gossiping. I wasn't able to. Although I'm not online that much.
It should work right now. It takes a little while, but it is working for people.
Okay.
I know it's not
I'll keep it
instantaneous, but like yesterday we were having some issues with Lightning Rod with Talking Stickies running, but it was going. So
okay,
give it a shot.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, you can just ask questions if you get in there.
Cool.
Yeah, about feedback maybe for the session there. I think it was good, like, to have a long intro with getting actually the context of what we're building. Yeah, I don't know, maybe in the end in the coding stuff may be, like, for me it was okay, but I can imagine that for other people stuff went a bit fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the scaffolding part and this kind of yeah, I guess it depends a bit on the skill level of people, but I can imagine that it was a bit fast. Yeah, but I think it's, yeah, I'm looking forward to continue next week.
Yeah. I know, and like I have this tendency, like, the energy I bring a lot into these things is, hey, I just want to build this for fun myself, so let's just do it in open. So basically I go as I would go, like, not on the context and so on, but I, like, building it, I go as I would go in my own. it is true that we are missing a lot of people there with the like actually, hey, a zone, what is a zone really, and everything else, right? So maybe we can do something like it is recommended to or we can do even a session on that. It is recommended that before going into one of these workshops, because I don't want to explain Holochain all over again in every workshop, so look at the core concepts and look at this video will get you up to speed to come in and okay, I understand, because I know I've seen the scaffolding tool before, I know what it's like, I know what it's about. So yeah, at least we can gather resources in the description as a first good step. Cool. I'm trying to like reduce the work that we have to do in these open collaborative things as to as little work as you can, to be able to not to have this turn into a big work obligation thing that we need. Like, we need to be having fun. I think that's the most important thing in this open collaborative context. Anything else? Should we? Oh, Hidayat?
Yeah, just why not? Thank you. It is fantastic and we love it. So it is a great job. Thank you for sharing, and also it is a lot of benefit for me, others that watching that you are doing the things live. Just want to tell you that it is amazing, and I personally love it. Please keep continuing. We are going to be here.
Yay! If anyone has an idea and they want to develop some mini thingy and they want to do their own workshop, like, you can ask me. I don't think anyone can create an event in DevHC, but you can ask me and I will be here to support you. Like, if you want to drive building your own thing, like, we can totally do it. Like, let's schedule for in the 3 weeks, in a month, in whatever time, and you will drive and I will be here to help with everyone else also that's here that day. So that's totally an invitation that is very present here. Okay, cool. So I think, Hidayat?
That's it. No, thank you, Guillaume. Thank you, Wes.
Yeah, thank you, Wes, and thank you, everyone. Let's see you next week. Have a great week.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.